All right, everybody, welcome to the 2022 Vision Board event. How insane is that? Okay, you guys, this is my 7th time doing this event, and I want to take a few minutes. I'm going to do it probably about a half hour. And I want you guys, anybody that's watching, you can, ask any questions on the side. But I started doing these 7 years ago because I got frustrated at that normal vision board event that you see everybody do, like go in the magazines, go online, print out, all these visions that you have for yourself, and then watch them come to life, right? And watch them come and unfold throughout the year. And in turn, you get to the end of the year and you're like, nothing happened. So what I want to share today is I want to give ideas, but I also want to give concepts that work behind making your vision for 2022 become reality. So I do have this where I'm going to be able to give this recording in the group. And so you guys send this to all of your friends. And I want you guys to share your vision boards or your vision ideas in the private groups that we have. The one I'm going to be sharing with you guys tonight, I did last year. I did share the one in the group with the picture frame that I did years ago. And I actually went to Hobby Lobby this week and I went to go find a very similar picture frame and they had nothing like it. So I'm going to actually be looking for something specific like that. I really loved the picture frame idea. But the one I'm going to share today with you guys, I will share in the group so you guys actually have a visual of it because it's hard to see on a Zoom call. But one of the things that I found in helping people over the years, including myself, my girls, everybody, is we have this end game. We're like, I want to go on a vacation. I want to create more freedom. I want to feel a certain way about myself. I want to be able to fit in these clothes. I want to be able to feel confident in who I am. I want to be happy, right? So in the vision board event and in my groups, I had you guys pick a word for your year. And I want to talk a second about that because this goes just as much into the vision board as it does your entire soul. And there were many people that struggled with how to pick a word for their year. And so if you haven't already picked it, or you have, I want you to make that word present all over the place. I want the word for the year to be the way you think, the way you move, and what's going to be happening in your 2022. Okay. So the way you think, the way you move, and what's going to happen. So some of you guys picked the word change. I know Joe picked the word change. And at first I was like, wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he's like, no, that's a good thing. There's so many good things that's happening. He's going through a time in his life where so many changes are happening, right? And to look through the good and all the amazing stuff through that. And so mine, I had chose with you guys, my word Joe actually came up with was rise. And I'd shared very heavily in the group. If you guys did not see it, I actually shared the Bible study link because it was nothing super personal. I ran most of it myself and there were some people that were talking back and forth. But my very first word that I ever picked for my first vision board word was the word happy. Because I was falling short of that word every single day of my life. And I needed my word for the year to represent happy. So when I hit a roadblock in my day, I had this word on my vision board or on my screensaver on my phone, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. So, because do any of you guys never leave the house without your cell phone? You never do. Nobody ever goes anywhere without their cell phone. Your cell phone's with you everywhere. Why wouldn't you make your vision on your cell phone? So I want you guys to think about some of these things, take tons of notes, ask me questions, but then I want to share in the group this week as well, because the group will be available to you all week. But I wanted the word happy to represent me even on a bad day, so that I had a word that I could flip my script, because I wrote that was the word that I was going to use for my year. Because you guys, people don't just wake out of bed happy. They choose to be happy. They make a decision to make that happen because they have a vision of what they want. Okay. So I want you to acknowledge and I want you to reflect at where you're at in your life right now. there was the most amazing conversation I had today with Kristen. She's here on the call, but I did a video in the group as well about it, and it really got me thinking. And the conversation went something like reminding me of the person I was 9 years ago. I was a mom, and I'd wanted to be a mom more than anything in the world. And when I lost everything and we became bankrupt, I didn't know what my purpose was. And all I knew is I felt really good when I worked out. I don't know, but I just felt really good. I don't really know why, but that was really awesome. Okay, now I'm good now, right? It was like my medicine in a bottle. So I think a lot of us, and I want to see if you guys can interact with me a little bit. And I'm going to ask you a question, and you can chat on the side. Have you ever had a time in your life where you have just been like, I don't know what my purpose is, or maybe you don't know what your purpose is right now. And I want to give you permission to be okay with that. But you know, what's exciting is that you are in the right place where you're going to actually get the tools on how to make that happen. Have any of you guys ever felt like you're like getting up, eating breakfast, going to work, coming home, making dinner, showering, and going to bed and doing it again? But there's nothing in the middle of that that's driving you towards this vision board of these things that you want in your life. And it got me really thinking about how I think so many of us walk around this way. So what I want to do is I want you to write down these 3 things, okay? And then I'm going to walk you through. Now I'm going to walk you through mine and what it looks like. And you can put this to anything. You can put this to being a stay-at-home mom, on things you want to accomplish. You can do it if you have a career, and it doesn't have to be a Beachbody coach. It could be anything. And I'll be able to give examples of that. But I want you to write down this. I want you to acknowledge where you're at today. I want you to acknowledge and reflect on what's happened in your life, and give yourself some grace that you're alive and you made it. Number 2, the next step, you sat in that minute. The next step is to create action and movement. And that's what you're going to do tonight, is you are now going to create the action and the movement to the vision that you have. You're not just going to put on your vision board, I want to make more income. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to go on a vacation. You're going to set specific and measurable deadlines to make that reality, because you're going to have action behind your actual goals. And that is really the one thing that's missing from people's vision, is they can acknowledge what they want to do, but they never actually have the movement. Why do you think that is? I thought long and hard about what that might be. And a lot of times people don't believe it. They want it, but they don't believe it. And I'm here to tell you, you can have anything you want because he says so. End of story. Number 3 is you altering and creating that because you decided to make the movement and the action. So write down, you're going to alter and create your life around the actions that you decided to do. So we've got this vision. That's awesome. It means nothing without the movement and the actions. Then you start to move and you have the actions, then you're going to create the alteration and make that possible. So the only difference between any of you guys reaching your goal this year is number 2 and number 3. Everybody can do number 1. Well, I wouldn't say everybody. Some people don't even acknowledge it. They're like, it's all good, right? But none of you guys are like that because you're here. So I'm going to walk you through what I did. And then I'm also going to go live a couple times in the group this week, a few more times to kind of help you guys with some of those things as well. But for me, I am a little over 9 years in being a Beachbody coach. And my number 1 goal when I first became Beachbody coach was just to get amazing results and feel better. And God, it'd be really great to help one person. Maybe I can help one person get out of bed, because when I first started, I couldn't get out of bed. And if I could help one person find their momentum and they're happy in life, because I was starting to feel it and I was starting to see purpose beyond just feeding the kids and going to bed and showering and shaving my legs, I was like, I need to share this with the world. So I made a goal that I was going to help one person to do the same thing that I did not believe on day one that I could do for myself, right? Your belief system is so, so important, you guys. You're surrounded around people tonight that believe in you. You're surrounded around a team that believes in you, that does hard things. Okay. So I'm going to share with you guys this. It'll be very difficult for you to see here on the call, but I'm going to walk you through it. And I actually have this in my office on the wall, so I can see it every single day that I walk in my office. So I want you to think about what kind of vision that you are going to have, that you get to see it every single day you wake up. Maybe it's your cell phone. Maybe it's a picture on the wall in your bedroom. Maybe it's like this cute little, like for me, it has to be cute. Like, I'm sorry, if it doesn't match my house and it's not cute, I'm out, right? So you want to make it fun. So the one thing that is separating you from the people that are crushing their goals is they set daily, weekly, quarterly, and yearly goals. And there's a bonus one, non-negotiable goals. How many of you guys have non-negotiable goals? Like, raise your hand if you do. Like, for me, I have non-negotiable goals. I got to drink my shake every single day. It's changed my freaking life, right? A non-negotiable, if I'm working out, absolute without question, I am taking pre-workout or I would die. Non-negotiable, I'm at least going to say the word fuck at least once a day. No, just kidding. I'm just like making you laugh, right? But hopefully there's no kids in the bedroom. Okay. But you have to set goals, not just long-term, but in order to get to the long-term goals, you have to have daily. And sometimes you guys, sometimes they're hourly. Sometimes it's one foot in front of the other. So with me having this vision, I'm going to walk you through, and again, I'll take a picture of this so you guys have it as well in the group, but I'm going to have a vision of my daily, my weekly, my monthly, my quarterly, my yearly, and my non-negotiable goals. And what I did is I actually just bought this rack at Hobby Lobby, and then I took some cute ribbon and then some cute stickers, and then I just wrote on what mine were. So I'm going to read them to you guys. And daily, so that I see it in front of me every single day, I put daily, I'm going to do personal development. Absolutely without question. I'm going to do my Bible studies. So I see these when I wake up. I come in my office, I get my computer, I sit down, it's in my face. I'm going to get my workout done. Now that doesn't always happen, but I've got it here. So I'm going to see it. I've written it down. I've shared it with you guys. I'm going to have my shake. I'm going to get business hours with a timer. Sometimes I get distracted, and I absolutely have set time to where, how many of you guys have been on Facebook for like 5 hours and you're like, oh crap. What if you actually just gave yourself permission to have an hour of just surfing and having fun? And the rest of the time you actually worked on your dreams. We always say we don't have time, but we really do. We really not have time. I might have shared this before. You guys have heard me say this. I didn't have cable for 2 years. And I know many of you guys are like dropping the floor going, how did you do that? I wanted to save money, and paying off my debt was non-negotiable. And that bill was $250 a month. So I gave up cable for 2 years. Would any of you guys be willing to do something like that? And you can comment anytime you guys want to comment, let me know. But like, I did that short term, knowing that that would get me to a long-term goal, right? And I made a daily habit to make that happen. So the other one is, when working out, don't look at my cell phone. These are simple, but think about the time that you guys have wasted throughout your day, and you aren't actually reaching your goals because of the little things, which actually become the big things of you not accomplishing anything. My weekly goals is like, and these are, again, this is for my Beachbody business, but my weekly goals, I want to help 5 new people get started. I want to help 5 new people get out of bed and actually feel purpose and actually feel amazing. Like, the messages I get, I sometimes like, I forget to screenshot them. I'm like, oh my God, like the world needs to see this, that I actually changed a life because I decided to get out of bed. But I'm only getting out of bed because you guys are all getting out of bed. You do know that, right? And then it says, help lead 5 people this week. So every single week, I want to help 5 people lose the weight, help them with their coaching business, help 5 people feel amazing. And if that means that that's with makeup tutorials or getting on the phone or whatever that might be, that's what I'm going to do. My monthly goals. Now, again, this is obviously very personal for me. So I want you guys to think about, like, on a monthly basis, like, what would your goal be? Like, one of the girls I just got off the phone with, Kaylin, she was like, my goal is by February 8th, or I think it was 15th, actually. She said, by the 15th, I'm going to lose 8 pounds. And I said, can I ask you why it's that date? And she said, because that will be the anniversary that my baby's 1. And to get my goal, I want to hit 8 pounds, I want to lose 8 more pounds. I'm like, awesome. Here's what I want you to do. Here's how you're going to make that possible. And I gave her the tools on how to make that possible, right? So for my monthly, I said, I want to be able to have a certain goal by the 5th, have a certain goal by the 10th. And I want to be able to have a certain minimum. I wrote the exact amounts of people that I want to be able to change their lives, and also my team. And I want to be able to also help other people create financial freedom. And I have 4 people that I want to do that in 1 month. So in 1 month, if I've written these down, then I can reach out and help people achieve all those things too, because they're here on my vision. The other one is the quarterly. So my quarterly goals is basically, I want to be able to help my team get certain goals within their losing weight within their ranks. And then I'll share this whole picture for you guys. So yearly, I want to be our team to be able to be, we're in the top 200 right now. I want us to be in the top 80, and 2 coaches leave their corporate jobs and make this full time. I actually have quite a few that are darn close to making that happen. And then non-negotiable things is, and these are so, I've actually told Joe some of these, it says non-negotiable things is, and I've already nailed it this year already, is going for walks more and being outside. I've had 3 walks this week. And one of them was like a mile. And the other one was like a mile. And the other one was like a half a mile. But I got outside because it's non-negotiable for me. Doesn't mean every day, but that is me protecting my peace. I want you guys to think about, like, in order for you to hit some of your goals, what would that mean in you protecting your peace? On New Year's, I made a decision to set my cell phone down and walk away from it to protect my peace, to just live in the moment and enjoy that moment. The other one was go on a vacation, unplugging without my cell phone. That has always been my dream. Wouldn't that be amazing? But then how would anybody know we actually went? No, just kidding. That does sound really great, right? And then this one is the one I wrote down before, and I want to change this, but it says, find me and happy beyond work and family. How many of you guys are in a place in your life where you're like, I want to hit these goals that you have, and maybe you have a goal that, like, some people think like they almost downgrade their value and their goals. Maybe you want to be able to create financial freedom, or you want to be able to buy a couch for your family, or you want to be able to take them on a ski vacation. And what would that mean to make that happen daily? Maybe you woke up earlier. Maybe you went for a walk and took care of yourself sooner. Maybe you said no to certain things and yes to the right things. And so when I get you guys actually talking about these non-negotiable things and all these visions for your weekly. So weekly for me, you guys, I have to wake up at a certain time. I make sure I eat breakfast at a certain time. I make sure I check in at my team with a certain time. I make sure that they know where my heart and my soul is. And they heard me today and all my frustration and what I'm going through, right? Because social media doesn't always get that. And they're like, oh my God, me too, right? And so that's non-negotiable for me. I have a family that's cheering me on doing this together. So we're crushing these goals together. But I want you to think of, maybe you don't know who you are. And maybe you want to envision what your 2020 is going to look like. And I want you to write that down. Be like, you know what? I look forward to getting to know me in 2022 and being able to figure out who I am as I lose the weight, as I build the confidence. And I'm going to go ahead and do the things that I've never done. Do you know some of the things, what would this be? 3 years ago, some of my non-negotiables for my vision board, I know you guys are going to think this is so weird. And I want you to think of the little things or the big things, is I just had to get out and meet new people. I could be on my computer, my cell phone, like all the time. Like, this is my job. This is where I meet people, right? But I'm not touching you, right? And I was like, Rhonda, you need to go out there, you need to touch people, walk away from it, set the cell phone down. And oh my gosh, I did it. And it was so scary. And it was one of the best things I ever did. One of the best things I ever did, because it set my soul free. So as I share this vision, for me, it's personal, but it also incorporates family. It incorporates my heart. So when you're building your vision board, I want you to think about, maybe there's something you want for your family financially that you want. Maybe your family wants more of your time. You write that down and you schedule that time. Like we had game nights last year. So we'd schedule game nights. Maybe your kids are complaining that mom and dad are always on their cell phone, or you're always busy, and you schedule that time. So it should be personal. It should take care of your heart, your peace, business, your health. So when you're writing this vision board, if you looked at mine, I have business, but it's also about helping others, but it's also about my non-negotiable with my family, with myself. Okay. So as you go through this vision board, I only want to keep this 30 minutes long, and I want you guys to ask questions. It's very simple, but I think people print out all these things, but they're not setting daily goals for themselves. But I also want you to give yourself some grace. And I want you to think about how far you've come. The fact that you've started this journey, the fact you're interested in this journey, and know that you can surround yourself around people that want the exact same things, which means you are only going to keep growing and changing. And I also want some of your goals to be super scary. Don't just play it safe. Write some goals down that scare you. For me, I shared on social media. I haven't done a post or anything, and if you were on my stories, you saw it, but maybe you don't know. But Joe and I bought a house and we move in this year, and we're going to be remodeling things. So I'm going to be bringing everybody through that process, but I'm buying new furniture for the house, and I'm buying horses for the house, and I'm paying for all of that. And by the way, horses are not just a couple $1,000s anymore. I'm so I have this vision to be able to provide this for my family, which is going to allow my family to have fun, which is going to allow my family to be able to do something together they love. Because they've already told me, they're like, you're not getting one, you're getting two so that we can enjoy it too. And I'm like, okay. Right. So I want you to think about, what does that look like? Now, what am I going to have to do to make that happen? So me writing that vision down, that I want to be able to provide these things for my family. Do you know what that means? It means I'm not going to be sleeping in as often. I'm going to get up when the alarm goes off. I'm going to take care of my heart. I'm going to feed my mind first. And when I'm struggling, I'm going to lean on my team, and I'm going to ask them for tools and the knowledge. And I'm going to meet myself where I'm at right now. I'm going to leave the call open for questions at the end. I can talk about financial stuff. I know I've shared very openly on social media and in the groups how I was able to get out of debt by doing a vision board like this. I know a lot of people feel that way. They feel that heaviness. But remember, it didn't happen overnight. But if you set the vision today, where could you be a year or two from now because of this one decision? Tatiana said 80,000 for a jumper horse. Wow, I'm out on that one. Holy mama. There was a warm blood I wanted, and he was 30 grand. And I was like, I'm out. Nope. They said they're cheaper in Canada though. I was like, I'm not going to Canada. They're only 20 grand in Canada. I'm like, I'm still out. That's still too much. But I want to share with you guys and have you guys ask any questions you might have. I want you to get excited about the version of you that you're going to meet this year. I think the one thing that is sad to see and upsetting that I didn't figure out earlier in my life was it's okay to not have it all figured out right now. And you've got the world saying, now, do it now, do it. And it's like, but wait a minute. Maybe I don't know how to dream that big yet. So here's what I'm going to do on my vision board. I'm going to surround myself around people that do know how. I am going to push myself like those people so that I can reach my goals doing that. I know for me, I want to find more Rhondas that like just love to work out. Like I was doing this before Beachbody. This just became something I now am able to create financial freedom with, but it was something I did before Beachbody. I love it. I loved working out. I love learning. I'm constantly wanting to make other people feel amazing because I'm learning through it that I'm feeling amazing. And so I want you to sit there and think about, not everybody is so lucky to be surrounded around people that are dreaming big. You have that right in front of you. And you get to make those choices when others don't even know how. So anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to add? We're about 30 minutes in. You can type it in, or you can also unmute your line as well. Do you get it, Chris? Kristen, were you unmuting it? There we go. How often, Carol says, how often do you change or pivot on your goals? Oh my gosh. So some of the goals stay very much the same. So like in my business, for me, I absolutely, without question, am always looking for that same person. I want to find that person that loves fitness, loves her family, doesn't want to be perfect, loves Jesus, might cuss on occasion, but she's willing to work hard because she wants more for her family. And that person that actually we can lead and grow together. Those things that's like non-negotiable. I've done this for so long that I know that is the person that like I absolutely am always looking for, the person that is always teachable. So that kind of stays the same. The thing that will shift for me in my life is definitely based off circumstances. I have noticed, obviously, there's so many changes in my life with my dad dying, and then now a new relationship and being divorced. And then I was, left with, $140,000 in debt after my divorce, right? So being left with all those things had me really pivot the way my goals looked. So, and I'll be honest with you, just being very transparent, for me, it really became more about income and me making more income and not so much the rank. And so I really pivoted by going, I have this amount of debt that I need to pay off. It's non-negotiable. So I'll be honest with you guys, and just very, very personal. I couldn't sleep at night. And when I paid off all my debt in a year and a half, doing what I do, I literally looked at Joe and I said, oh my God, this is why the world is screwed up. Because they go to bed with this weight on their shoulders and antidepressants and feeding all these things that the debt that I had, you guys, that I was left with, it debilitated me and it kept me frozen. But I hustled because I was pissed and I was not going to let that define me. So that pivoted the way that I worked my entire vision board. I mean, down to the nails I have, right? Down to the cable that I got rid of, down to the yard guy that I fired and got a cheaper one. Yeah, absolutely. Did I suffer with anxiety? And I suffered with a lot of depression after my divorce. And I probably didn't share it as publicly because it's like how much, it's hard. My girls follow me on Instagram. So I obviously have to be very careful about what I share. But I will tell you one thing that pivoted very, very heavily for me is the relationship that I had with Jesus through that time. Have you guys ever just had a part in your life where you just go, life was so hard and you had no other choice but to turn to Jesus? And so for me, I kind of put blinders on and I was like, I'm going to run my business and who I am based off exactly who Jesus shows me to be. And that was like when I kind of went, my parents cuss, they drink on occasion. They're not perfect. They work their asses off and they love their family. And I'm like, that's how I'm going to run my business. Couldn't tell you what Susan's doing. Couldn't tell you what Karen's doing. I really put blinders on. and I lead with my heart. And I really did pivot, I think, Carol, with like what I was focusing on as much. And today I'm debt free. And then, I'm driving down the street 3 weeks ago and my car blows up. So like, you know what I mean? God's got a funny sense of humor, right? Now I'm like, my car was paid off. Wait, what? No, right? But I definitely think that you have to be able to pivot with this because life's going to happen. Life's going to happen and how you pivot, but you never forget that long-term goal. That long-term goal does not change ever. That long-term goal and what you see and you want, maybe your daily activities are going to change a little bit based off that pivot, right? Do you have a journal as well? Absolutely. Or just the vision board. So every single day, I actually, with the new Bible study, there is a journal that came with it. And you guys, real quick, I can share the link to the book that we're doing in the vision board event, but it's not super biblical. Oh my gosh, it is so amazing because it's all about how to build your purpose with actions and with creation. But actually, I bought her book with the journal. So it actually comes with one. And so in the morning, I actually have a gratitude journal. And so I will write one thing I'm grateful for and the one thing I challenge myself to do. And it could be one sentence. Sometimes it's a whole paragraph and a whole page. But the one thing that I've actually been really good about, and it's like my big no-no, is I try not to repeat it. Do you know how hard that is? I try not to repeat what I'm grateful for. So I write down, but there's so much science behind these things. People go, I want to do this. It sounds great, but then you don't do it. But I understand that these successful people are doing this. So I may not want to do it and I may not understand it, but my ass is doing it. Because if that's what it takes to be successful, I'm doing it. No questions asked. Because if I have to start with gratitude first, then it's worth it. And then you start to see your actions. You start to wake up earlier. You start to have more energy. You get to start actually sharing. And somebody asked me the other day how to walk in this world with confidence. And I was like, honey, that doesn't come from the way you look or the way you dress or what you buy or your job. That only comes from Jesus. But that also comes by surrounding yourself around people that also want that same thing. And that's what I love that is so hard to share on social media about our team. And what we do is, and it was so great, Miss Nina, I don't see her here on the call. She's a dear friend of mine, a coach of mine, and she went in my vision board event. I have 2 different vision board events, but I have one that's just me and then one that's everybody. And they're both the same. But she went in and she was like, oh my gosh. She goes, I love everything you're sharing. I printed it out. I've done all this stuff. She goes, it's so crazy because people think that this has to do with looking a certain way, feeling a certain way, and eating a certain way when it's way more than that. And I'm like, yep, it's actually, that's all just this much of it. The mind and how you walk and think and act is all of it. It's all of it. But yet every single day we try to skip the things, feeding the mind, listening to the call, getting the journal, reading the book. Don't skip it. There's that reels. How do you know you're in the good days when the good days are gone? You guys know what I'm talking about? The little things are the things that matter to get to the big things. That's why with this vision board, I want you to think about your daily vision for your day will get you to your long-term goal, not your long-term goal getting you to today. It doesn't work that way, but your actions today. Tatiana says, do you have hints or tricks for breaking your goals into smaller actions? Absolutely. I can give, and any of you guys that want to share as well. So a couple things is it really becomes beyond, it's like your behavior and your habits dictate your success. So a couple things with that, if you guys have never read the book Miracle Morning, it actually helps you with those things. So we cannot write all these things down and then just make them happen if we don't consciously go about changing our habits. And our habits and the things that we do every single day do need to change to get to a long-term goal. So there's a book called Miracle Morning. There's also another one called Eat the Frog. And the Miracle Morning you can get on Audible, I believe, as well. But it teaches you little things. It sounds really funny, but like what to do with your alarm clock. like what you do when you wake up in the morning, like how to get to these goals. Like we're like, well, why would me changing my alarm clock to do something, why would that get me to my long-term goal? Well, you read the book, you go, I get it now. So that will actually teach you the habits to be able to move differently and act differently, right? So I hope that helps. But for me, that book changed my life because it allowed me to see that I actually am the owner and the creator of my life based off the habits that I do every single day. And I needed to change those. And I needed to look in the mirror. And I needed to own my bullshit story that I was the only person that was keeping me from reaching those goals. But that I had to kind of meet myself where I'm at. You know, the beginning of the call, we talked about acknowledgement and reflecting. You have to acknowledge that, man, I really suck at routine. And I really suck at like doing things like when I'm supposed to. You get the book, The Miracle Morning, because it'll teach you how to do those things. So you meet yourself where you're at, but then you take the movement and you get that book and you download it. And then you take it and you alter your life around that one book because it teaches you how to do it, right? And then maybe some of you guys, it's loving yourself, right? Learning to love yourself and have that confidence. So you acknowledge that, you know what? I don't believe in myself. I don't love myself. I don't, all these things. You acknowledge that, you reflect on it, and then you take the action in the movement and you get that damn book. And you get a book that's going to make that possible. And then you actually create that action and that movement behind it, right? So I think a lot of times we never meet ourselves in that moment to be able to know that we need to do that. And it's interesting, like Tatiana, I think a lot of times too, is we don't even realize that those little things really matter, but they're everything. So, all right, why don't we do, you guys have one more question maybe? Do you want to add anything? Well, I hope this was helpful. And I just get so excited to break this down because for years, you just see people do, cut things out, pull things off the internet, paste the vacation. And what I want to do is I want to keep this group open to where you guys can ask questions throughout this week and be like, okay, so I've been thinking about what you said. What book would you read for this? What would you do for this? And I want to keep the group open so any of you guys can ask questions, because the only bad question is the one not asked. And I want you to think about, okay, now you've got me thinking about this. What would you do? Damn, I'll go live. I have 450 posts for my online groups in a 30-day group. I only share what they need. So ask, and we will definitely do it, okay? You are so welcome, Yolanda. You're so welcome. I believe in every single one of you guys. And I know I share this, and I actually get the sweetest text messages from so many of you guys. And I will tell you, it stops me in my tracks every time you say it. And it makes me like go, what? And I get this message so often. And you text me and you say, thank you so much for believing in me. And every single time I get it, I like turn to the person I'm next to and I'm like, wouldn't I? Do you know why I wouldn't believe in you? Or why I believe in you? Because once I didn't. And I thought I was worthless. And I thought I couldn't have any of the things that my family's achieved. None of them. But because I've been where you're at and I no longer am that person, I believe all of you can have anything you want. And again, because he says so, whatever, because you are that capable. But it takes these things, you guys. Change your daily habits, change your hourly habits, get the Miracle Morning book, set your month goal, your quarterly goal, your yearly goal, your non-negotiable. My non-negotiable, so far I haven't broke it. Going for walks with the dog, even if it's just quarter mile, I'm doing it because it makes me happy, makes me a better mom, makes me a better person. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of you guys. You can share this video and we'll see you guys in the group. Ask any questions. And I cannot wait to watch every single one of you crush this year. Bye, everybody.